MMA judging is a complete joke. These guys are paid to score fights. They are paid to correctly score them, and it's not even it's not awful money. 1,600 isn't bad, and it definitely does go up depending on which commission is paying them. And they come out with these type of scorecards, complete terrible decisions, right? And they are paid to do this. So I mean, this is the fight that really set me off and really made me want to make this video, and that is Garn versus Volkov. This is the UFC 310. Right. So on the top row is the judges' scorecards, and the row below that is the like community scorecard. So you can go onto MMADecisions.com and send in your scorecard, and then it basically just goes into a pie chart and shows you who voted for what, and this is what the fans voted for. So Andalay Bird scored the contest 29-28 Volkov. Eric Collins scored it 29-28 Volkov. And then I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce his name, but he scored it 29-28 towards Garn. So Garn won this fight 29-28 via split decision. The fans scored it 29-28 Volkov. However, what's interesting is there's more of a conversation for 3-1 Volkov or 30-27 Volkov than there is for Garn to beat Volkov 29-28. Now, this type of discussion, these type of scorecards happen all the time. If it's 1 to 2 robberies per card, it isn't that uncommon. It's quite common for these things to happen. And it really does beg the question, do these professionals who are paid to do this know what they're doing or know what they're talking about? The answer to that is no. I don't think they do know what they're talking about. Now, it's not just robberies either. There are very inconsistent scoring. So this one happened, I think it was 306. No, it was 305 this happened. This was Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. So it's on the same card as that. So we had poor judging on this card. Howie Booth scored it 3-1 to Taito Ivasa, while as the other two guys scored it 29-28 Rosenstreich and 3-1 or 30-27 Rosenstreich. I don't get how one judge can see it 30-27 one way and the other judge can see it 30-27 the other way, unless they are razor close rounds, which these weren't. Rosenstreich was clearly winning. So, and then you look at the Strickland fight. Now, I know Strickland fights are a little bit harder to judge because he is a very boring fighter, but you can't have Chris Lee scoring it 5 rounds to 0 towards Strickland and then Dave Torelli scoring it 4 rounds to 1 towards Costa. Doesn't make any sense. They cannot be watching the same fight if one guy is scoring it 5-0 and the other one's scoring it 4-1 to the other person. Doesn't make any sense. And this kind of means that they don't know how to score fights. They aren't scoring it the same way. They aren't on the same wavelength. If one guy is scoring it 3-1 to Tuivasa and the other guy is scoring it 3-0 to Tuivasa and the other guy scoring it 3-0 to Rosenstreich, doesn't make any sense. They cannot be scoring fights the same way. So how do we change this? Well, number one is education. We need to educate these judges, right, on how to score fights. That way, we're gonna either get we're gonna get less robberies, hopefully, and more consistent, scorecards that aren't, oh, here's 30-27, 30-27, split decision. Doesn't make any sense, right? So we're gonna get less robberies if we educate the guys, the judges, on how to score fights correctly. And we also need to educate certain not educate fans, but I mean, if like once on a card we say, oh, this is how you score fights, you guys, then like, maybe we won't be screaming robbery at every single close decision like the Evloev Sterling fight, which wasn't a robbery, but it was a close decision. And that's the problem. There's another problem that I've just, identified, and that is the fan base will call any close decision a robbery, but at the same time, that takes away from genuine robberies like the Garn Volkov fight, which is an actual robbery because there's a more of a decision for 3-0 Volkov than there is for 2-1 Garn. Get what I mean? That's a robbery. But Evloev Sterling, that's not a robbery. So another thing we need to do is demote them if they mess up. The same way that in like a Premier League style football match or Premier League style like table, if you finish in the bottom three, you get knocked down towards the next division. We need to have like, okay, UFC is like Premier stuff, PFL stuff like that, and like championship fights. And then like if you mess up, you get sent to the prelims or you get sent to Cage Warriors to go work on your judging so you don't make more mistakes in very key, very important career-defining matches. Like the Reyes fight, Jones versus Reyes. Reyes went on a 3-fight losing streak after that. Lost 3 fights directly, after getting robbed by Jones. That clearly mentally broke him and pretty much just ruined his career entirely. He could have been UFC champ, but instead he got robbed, and now he's slowly climbing his way back up, but that really did affect him for a little while. And then what we need to do is get proper MMA judges who actually know how to score MMA. A lot of these guys, like I spoke about Andalay Bird before, where is she? Here on who scored the Volkov fight. She is a boxing judge. Now, obviously, she's made mistakes in boxing, whatever, but they're not MMA judges. I'm not sure about the rest of these guys. I know Andalay Bird. She did take quite she did kind of get bullied by the public eye for a little while for terrible decisions in boxing. But you can't bring over these boxing judges and stick them in a completely different sport with a completely different scoring line and completely different rules and say, judge this fight. Because they're going to judge it off what they know, and that is boxing. So we need to get proper MMA judges who have gone through proper qualifications in MMA. And that's how you fix this problem. But I doubt the UFC are going to fix the problem because it costs too much money to fix. It's easier to just sit there and complain to the commission and say, okay, the commission says, okay, give us some more money and we'll get proper MMA judges. It isn't that big of a deal. So the UFC aren't going to pay money to fix this. They're just going to keep moaning about it. So, because I feel like the way this gets fixed is we go to the commission and say, can we have actual proper MMA judges? They say, okay, give us a little bit more money and we can pay to get better judges. And they're going to say, that's not really in our budget. It's fine. We'll stick with these boxing judges who don't know what they're doing. So that's probably what's going to happen. And this issue will never get fixed. And we'll keep moaning about these inconsistent, stupid decisions leading to robberies and ruining people's career completely. So, but that's the end of this video. It's a quick rant video. Yeah. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.